Coach's Bench, brought to you each week here on Mix 104.1 by Mark Smith and everybody at the area McDonald's restaurants. Thanks to Mark for supporting Cleveland High School and sponsoring this program. We appreciate it. He also does the panel of experts this year on Mix 104.1. Coach Tygard with me tonight, and just a little while before kickoff on Mix 104.1, 7 o'clock for the kick at Walker Valley High School. If you can't be there, you have a couple of options, Mix 104.1 and also Mix TV. So if you can't be there, try to listen in. Coach Tygard, a big win last week over McMinn County.
Yeah, it was. So it was a good win, tough physical team. So we knew it was going to be a hard-fought game, and we were happy to come out there 2-0.
Something that impressed me, second half, they had a couple of drives. I felt like the defense would bend a little bit, but when it got crunch time where they're kind of marching in your territory, you guys put the brakes on them and forced them into kicking the ball, and the kicks were no good. So I don't know if that was a plan or not, but it's just the way it appeared.
The first drive of the game, they drove the ball defensively. We weren't lined up. We weren't reading our keys. It kind of, it's hard to practice against the wing tee. Then when you see it full speed live in the first drive of the game, it's hard to simulate that. So we kind of took us by surprise on the first drive. But then the second half, you're right. Anytime you're playing a team like that, as soon as they get behind the chains, that's what you need. So
exactly.
They get a holding penalty or a false start or something, or you just get a negative, tackle for loss. Mm-hmm. And once they get behind the chains, then you can stop them. And once they hit that high red zone area, they kind of have to decide: are we going to go for it on fourth down? Are we going to try to kick a long field goal? Are we going to punt? What are they going to do? They tried a couple long field goals, and we knew. We kind of planned to go off a certain edge, and we actually sub L.J. Adams in, our quarterback, to try to come off there, and I think he tipped that last field goal. That was no good. So 2 missed field goals by them. So that was a good deal on the special teams for us.
Certainly was. And speaking of the kicking game, you guys have a great kicking game this year.
Yeah, we've got 3 sophomores in the kicking game. So Chase Stevens is our snapper, Emilio Green our holder, and then Sloan Bolaños our kicker. So we purposely put 3 sophomores together so they can stay together for 3 years. And Sloan's doing a great job. He's great on kickoff. He's dangerous because he can do so many different things with onside kicks or occasionally hit the end zone and go deep and everywhere in between. And then he's done really well on extra points and field goals so far this year. So we are very, very excited about him. And then Coach Jones is our special teams coordinator, came down with me from Blackman. And he puts a big emphasis on special teams. We call them the Special Forces. We even found an old Raider Special Forces logo that was in school colors from back in the World War II days. And so he shows them that. We have a special teams meeting every Wednesday, and so there's still some things we need to clean up, but we do try to win the special teams game every year. I mean every game.
In the Clinton game, I was taken by surprise a little bit that there were 3 sophomores handling the ball. You don't see that too often. And I know Sloan is a great kicker. We expected big things out of him. I just didn't realize the other 2, the snapper, the holder, would be sophomores also, but they've done a very good job.
Yeah, I mean, Chase was just he was our third string quarterback. He's our futures quarterback. But then, he was just out there long snapping one day, and he's perfect. I mean, we're getting field goals off in 1.2 seconds or less, which is college speed. Wow. So even if we had a bust on our field goal protection, Sloan's getting the ball off so fast that it's even harder to block it. So they're doing a great job.
Well, I think, and this puts a smile on my face, I think every facet of the game, your philosophy, speed, hurry, get it done, and move quickly to the next play. And I see a fast defense, a fast kicker, a good snapper, a fast offense. Very entertaining, I got to tell you.
Yeah, well, we said it's going to be fun to watch. We kind of play with a certain style of aggression, and tempo is part of it, but at the same time, we're just aggressive on all phases of the game. So whether that's going for 2-point conversions out of the swing gate, or whether that's trick plays or onside kicks or whatever, it's fun for fans to watch. But we do have a rhyme or reason to it. We went 0 for 3 on 2-point conversions last game, so that's not ideal. We had the great looks. We had good play calls called there, and we just got to execute the play plays, even if they're sophomores. So, that's kind of their thing that they get to buy into each week, and it gets them, to score points in a varsity game. And so once they buy into it and we execute a little better, then we should do a better job on that.
My age-old question, who deserves some recognition that probably didn't get it at the moment that they were performing so well?
Honestly, the defensive guys did a great job. So Zoe had his big game at defensive line. And I'm trying to think who else, because it's a couple days ago now.
And then Westfield had a big play.
AJ he's always solid. Anthony Davis, he did a really good job.
Yes, he did.
And so we gave those guys helmet stickers for extreme effort there. Nate Carter playing both ways, offensive line and defensive line. That's tough, especially as fast as we go on offense. So he had a great game. But anytime your front seven guys on defense play well, then you're gonna hold a wing T team down. And so to hold McMahon to only 10 points, I'll be shocked if they're not competing for their region championship. They're a good team, and they're very physical. So to hold them to 10, we were very happy with that.
Absolutely. We'll take our first break here on Coach's Bench, brought to you by the area McDonald's restaurants, and we'll be back with Coach Tygard right after this. Coach, a big game coming up tonight, 7 o'clock for the kick at Walker Valley, a rival game. Walker Valley 5A school, you're a 6A school, but very close, I believe, in enrollment, so not much of a difference in that aspect. When you think of Walker Valley, what comes to mind?
Honestly, when you're talking about enrollment, I think there's only a 200 and 300 student difference, but they'll have more players than us. So we're a 6A school, but I know they'll have over 100 on the team. So Drew's done a really good job getting all the kids out to play, and they've got a lot of bodies. They're 2 platooned. They don't have anybody that really goes both ways. And so they're a talented team. They're well coached, especially on defense. They do a lot of things, so they're extremely multiple. They run a 3-3 stack, and so they can bring guys from everywhere and give you lots of different looks and different coverages. And they're well coached, and they do a good job on that side of the ball. And then on offense, they kind of put more of an emphasis this year on running the ball. They got a great quarterback, so one of my favorite kids to watch. I've watched him for the last couple of years. I think he does a really good job. Walker Valley's quarterback, and they're trying to run the ball, then they'll take their shots if you give them the certain looks, and they let him call plays at the line of scrimmage, kind of like we do with ours, to where you don't know if you're going to get a run, but you might have a screen over there,
right.
And so you got to be aligned at all times, or the quarterback can flip it out there and throw a screen for a big gain.
Tell us about the 3-3 stack.
Yep. So what they've done is they've taken undersized players that are faster, quicker, more athletic, and they put them out there on defense. Okay. And so their defensive linemen are not going to be 250 plus pounds. They're going to be more 200, 210 pound kids, and they're slanting left and right, and they're playing different gaps. They're not really trying to just hold the offensive linemen. They're trying to cause havoc through the gaps and get tackles for loss and get you behind the chains. Their linebackers, same difference. They're not overly huge players, but they're very fast. They've got 2 transfers from Chattanooga Central, one playing middle linebacker who was their leading tackler, had over 100 tackles at Central last year, and then they took an all-state safety from Chattanooga Central starting at Walker Valley now. So they've got 2 players that were all-state caliber players at Central, and then now they're over there, and they do a really good job, and they kind of blitz from everywhere and try to cause havoc. And if they can get some turnovers or get you behind the chains, then now you're in trouble.
I see. The adaptation by every defense you see this year of your quick pace offense, do you see them kind of ready for that, or adjustments as the game goes on?
I don't know. Honestly, we're not going anywhere near as fast as we'd like to be. So if it appears fast, we could do a much better job. A lot of that has to do with who we're playing and what the situation is there. I think we only had the ball for 14 minutes of time of possession last week against McMinn. So I guess in theory we are going fast, but it's not nearly as fast as where we'd like to be. We just don't really have the depth, and like we're playing linemen both ways and stuff like that, so we can't push it the way I'd like to. So instead, we are still going quick compared to most teams, but not to where we were, at Blackman. Defensively, I think teams are getting lined up for the most part, especially the well-coached teams. Clinton struggled a little bit with it.
They did.
But McMahon, we knew they were going to get lined up because they're not extremely multiple on defense, so they just have to go through their basic calls that they run every day. Walker Valley will be interesting because they run so much on defense to see can they keep that going as we're going as fast as we go. Because they've got 17 different blitzes, so then they've got to be able to get that in quickly. And we'll see, are they as multiple as they were against Notre Dame, against us, because we're going a little faster, or, maybe they can get that done and they practice it all week. They've got enough players to practice the tempo, so I would expect them to be, ready for tonight.
We'll take our final break on Coach's Bench with Coach Tygard, and we'll be back right after this. Coach, in the game last Friday night, a home game, and to me, a great crowd, interesting football game, well played on your part, and I love seeing the crowd and the enthusiasm that you've built this year. And wish we had more home games early in the season, but it is what it is, so we'll take what we get. But anyway, unfortunately, Cash Bandy went down in that game. Can you give us an update on Cash?
Yeah, so he tore his ACL in the game, so he's going to be out for a minute. So you hate to see that for a new kid that's he just got here, and also he's playing really well.
Right.
And so you just kind of go next man up. That's why you at least got to have 2 quarterbacks, and actually we can practice where we can go out there with 4 or 5 different quarterbacks and figure it out. So
do you want to tell us who the other man will be tonight besides LJ, or do you want to keep that?
No, I mean, it's, we can put a bunch of different kids back there.
Right.
And, we already mentioned Chase Stevens, who's our futures quarterback, and then we've put athletes back there in the past. And, this has happened in high school football. You got to prepare for quarterbacks getting hurt. I think it's the biggest travesty is if you just say, well, our quarterback went down and season over, we'll see everybody next year. Yeah, that's not fair to everybody else.
Right.
And so you got to plan for that. That's why we always play 2 everywhere I've been. And so now we're down to LJ, and we'll start working a second one with him and seeing what we can do from there.
I tell you something, in my opinion, from the press box that's worked so well, and he's strong as an ox. It's Zimborski running the ball in the direct snap. I mean, he's just moving the line forward. I mean, most of the time it's a short run that you need, either a touchdown, first down, whatever. But now bringing him down is like tackling a bowling ball.
Yeah, he's a big, strong kid. State champion wrestler, and he's over 200 pounds now, where he wrestled at 170. So he's put on a lot of weight, and he's strong, and he runs hard and mean. So, yeah, you're right. You give him the ball, and he's coming downhill, and he's a tough load to tackle.
Since spring practice up until this program, which is done in the middle of the week, by the way, maybe a couple of guys who have shown, in your opinion, the most improvement. I mean, your system was new to everybody, and there was adjustments and all, but a couple of guys who you feel that have given supreme effort and really advanced in their football career.
Yeah, the first one, honestly, is he was gone so much in summer, was Michael Jordan.
Yes.
And so he played so much baseball, and, he missed 2-a-days, and, he's committed to Virginia Tech for baseball. So he was gone so much, so I couldn't get a real feel for what he was going to be like in a game. But he goes every play on both sides of the ball, and he's physical. He's undersized, but he's strong, and he's had a great opening 2 games. Isaiah Davis is in a similar boat.
Absolutely.
People don't realize he's such a good DB. He didn't play a lot of defense last year, and he's gotten so much better on defense. I think he's actually going to get a shot at defense in college as much as running back. Brian Beard is a straight-up animal, plays both sides. So we've got a lot of skilled guys. Aaron Smith, they're all playing both sides of the ball, and so that we're asking a lot of those guys. And then, obviously our linebackers are solid. We've just got a great group of 20 seniors, and the big thing is they bought into what we're doing from the minute we got here, and that's rare. That's never happened before when we've started somewhere.
Okay.
So when we got to Blackman, when we got to North Jackson, the seniors were kind of just, we're not real sure about all these crazy ideas and go this fast and onside kicks, and they weren't sure about it. Or at least the 20 seniors we got now, they've been bought in since the 6 a.m. Raider drills we did out in March. And so it's testament to those guys. And when your seniors are bought in, then you got a chance to be pretty good.
Oh, absolutely. One last thing about the players. You mentioned Isaiah, interviewed him a couple of weeks ago, and I told him what you had told me is that he wasn't a DB last year, but this year he doesn't want to come off the field and is doing a good job. And that just put a big, wide smile on his face. He was happy that you felt that way. And he said, he said, that's true. I just don't want to come off the field. And so
he never gets tired. Brian Beard's the same way, never wants to come off. And I wish we could have had Brian for multiple years because he could be a special kid and play college football. But it's going to be interesting. I mean, we were talking the other day, like Dylan Harold, what he's done and how athletic he is and what he's done in track and wrestling and all these things. He's a 4.0 student. He's going to have a chance to play college ball. Camden Lockerby's a 4.0 student.
Right.
I mean, we've got just such a great group of kids that's been, I told them before we started the Clinton game, I said, this is some of the most fun we've ever had as coaches. And so we just want to keep this thing going as long as we can. And, we're trying to go 3-0 for the first time in, I think, 6 years. So, hopefully we can just keep busting these different streaks we got going, and it'll be a big game against Walker Valley.
it surely will. And next week when we sit here and talk with Coach, hopefully we'll be saying, Coach, you're 3-0. What's the future going to be? But anyway, seriously, Coach Tygard gives his time. And this man is a 24/7 man. I'm telling you, I don't know if the family ever sees him. I don't think he ever sleeps. But, I mean, he's got the energy of the bunny, the Energizer bunny, and that's needed. And it's very much appreciated. And on our part, Coach, thanks for everything. Thanks for the time you give us. This is Terry Evans saying, see you next week.
Go Raiders.